The Vanishing Campers, Lost in the Mist. Nestled deep within the mist-shrouded woods, Whispering Pines Camp was the epitome of a rustic summer getaway. The serene lake, towering trees, and warm camaraderie made it the ideal destination. Yet beneath its inviting exterior, an inexplicable mystery awaited, one that would forever alter my perception of reality. It was the second week of camp when the first camper vanished. Charlotte, a spirited girl with a penchant for adventure, had ventured into the woods to explore. As evening fell, and she failed to return, panic spread among the campers and counselors. Search parties scoured the forest, but there was no sign of Charlotte. Days turned into weeks, and as whispers of the mysterious disappearance spread, an unsettling tension gripped the camp. The once lively atmosphere became tinged with unease, and the mist that enveloped the woods took on an almost sinister quality. One moonlit night, as the campfire's warm glow flickered, I couldn't shake the feeling that we were being watched. Whispers seemed to dance on the edge of hearing, carried by the breeze that rustled the leaves. My friends and I exchanged nervous glances, our laughter subdued as the unease settled in. Inspired by stories of local legends, we decided to venture into the woods to uncover the truth behind the vanishing campers. Armed with flashlights and curiosity, we followed the path Charlotte had taken. The mist curled around our ankles, and the woods seemed to close in, a labyrinth of shadows and secrets. As we delved deeper, the whispers grew louder, and the mist thickened, obscuring our surroundings. Shapes danced just beyond the edge of our vision, and a sense of being watched intensified. With each step, the path seemed to shift, leading us deeper into the heart of the woods. Suddenly, the path vanished, replaced by a clearing shrouded in mist. In the center stood an ancient gnarled tree, its branches contorted and reaching toward the sky. The whispers seemed to converge here, their voices overlapping and intertwining in a haunting chorus. In the moonlight, we saw figures moving among the mist, ghostly silhouettes of those who had vanished. Charlotte was among them, her eyes hollow and vacant. The campers seemed to be trapped in a trance, their movements slow and disjointed as if caught in a never-ending loop. With trepidation, we approached the tree, its bark cold to the touch. The whispers grew more frantic, a cacophony of voices that seemed to plead for release. The mist swirled around us, forming shapes that morphed and twisted, reflecting the campers' tormented memories. A voice emerged from the chaos, the whisper of a young boy named Jacob. His story spoke of a forbidden ritual, performed under the ancient tree's branches, a ritual that had ensnared the campers' souls in a timeless loop. They were trapped between worlds, forever reliving their final moments. Determined to break the curse, we began chanting the words of an old incantation we'd found in the camp's archives. The mist responded, swirling and shifting as if reacting to our actions. The whispers grew more frenzied, their voices rising in a crescendo of desperation. Then, with a blinding flash, the mist receded, revealing the campers standing before us, their eyes clear and their expressions filled with gratitude. The ancient tree groaned, its branches cracking as if releasing a heavy burden. As dawn broke, the campers' spirits dissipated, their forms fading into the morning light. Whispering Pines Camp emerged from the ordeal changed, the mist no longer carrying an air of foreboding. The stories of the vanished campers became a testament to the thin veil between reality and the supernatural. As we left the camp, the memory of that haunting encounter remained, a reminder that even in the most idyllic settings, darkness can hide, waiting to be uncovered by those willing to explore beyond the mist. Shadows in the Woods, a summer camp nightmare. The summer of my 15th year was meant to be a time of carefree adventures and lifelong memories at Pinecrest Lake Summer Camp. Little did I know that beneath the cheerful facade of campfires and laughter, a chilling darkness lurked, waiting to engulf us in a nightmarish ordeal. The first sign that something was amiss came during our third week at camp. The counselors brushed it off as a prank, attributing the strange noises and whispered voices to overly imaginative campers. But as the days went on, the whispers grew louder, the voices more distinct, and a sense of unease settled over the campgrounds. One moonlit night, my friends and I decided to investigate the source of the unsettling whispers. Armed with flashlights and shaky determination, we ventured into the woods surrounding the camp, our curiosity overriding our fear. The trees loomed like sentinels, casting elongated shadows that seemed to dance to the rhythm of our racing hearts. As we delved deeper into the forest, The whispers grew more pronounced, their words indistinct yet haunting. A cold breeze brushed against my skin, carrying with it a chill that seeped into my bones. The familiar paths became unfamiliar in the darkness, and a feeling of being watched settled over us. Then, amidst the cacophony of whispers, a voice emerged. A mournful, childlike voice that echoed through the trees. "Help me!" it pleaded, sending shivers down our spines. Our flashlights swung wildly, searching for the source of the voice. But the woods seemed to hold its secrets tightly. With a shared glance of unease, we decided to retrace our steps and head back to camp. But the path that had seemed so clear moments ago had become a labyrinth of trees that twisted and turned, leading us in circles. Panic set in as the forest seemed to close in around us, its branches clawing at the sky as if reaching for us. In the distance, a dim light flickered, a solitary lantern that cast long, distorted shadows. Drawn by an irresistible force, we followed the light, hoping it would lead us to safety. The voice continued to plead, its desperation growing, and we realized that it was coming from the same direction as the lantern. As we approached the lantern, our flashlights revealed an old, dilapidated cabin nestled within a small clearing. The voice emanated from inside, growing louder and more urgent. With trembling hands, we pushed open the creaking door, revealing a scene that would forever haunt our nightmares. The cabin's interior was shrouded in darkness, save for the feeble light of the lantern. Shadows danced along the walls, taking on grotesque forms that seemed to contort and twist with a life of their own. And in the corner of the room, a flickering figure materialized, an ethereal child with hollow eyes and a pleading expression. "Help me," the child whispered, her voice a mournful plea that echoed through the room. But as we approached, the shadows seemed to converge around her, swallowing her up until only darkness remained. The cabin trembled, its walls groaning as if under the weight of a malevolent force. In a panic, we turned to flee, only to find that the door had vanished. The walls closed in around us, the shadows growing more sinister with each passing moment. The child's voice grew louder, its tone shifting from pleading to wrathful. Whispers surrounded us, taunting and tormenting us as we struggled against the grip of the cabin. Just when it seemed that all hope was lost, a blinding light pierced through the darkness. The cabin shuddered, its walls cracking as if under immense pressure. With a final deafening crash, the darkness was obliterated, replaced by blinding light and the smell of damp earth. We found ourselves standing in the clearing once again, the cabin reduced to splintered remnants. The forest around us was still, the whispers and shadows now gone. As the first rays of dawn painted the sky, we stumbled back to camp, shaken to our core by the horrors we had witnessed. The counselors dismissed our story as a vivid nightmare, attributing it to our overactive imaginations. But among my friends and me, the memory of that night lingered, a reminder that even in the brightest of places, darkness can creep in, twisting reality and testing the limits of our courage. Years have passed since that fateful night at Pinecrest Lake Summer Camp, but the whispers and shadows remain etched in my mind, a chilling testament to the true horrors that can exist beneath the surface of innocence. And as I close my eyes at night, I can still hear that mournful voice, haunting my dreams and reminding me that some nightmares are all too real. Echoes of the abandoned cabin. The rustling leaves of summer carried an air of adventure as my friends and I set out on a camping trip to the remote wilderness. Our destination was an old, abandoned cabin nestled deep within the woods. We'd heard rumors that the cabin held secrets, a history of eerie occurrences that made it the perfect setting for ghost stories around the campfire. Little did we know that our adventure would turn into a nightmare beyond our imagination. We arrived at the cabin late in the afternoon, the sun casting long shadows that seemed to stretch into the heart of the forest. The cabin stood weathered and worn, a relic of a time long past. Inside, the air was thick with dust, and the creaking floorboards underfoot seemed to groan with every step. As night fell, we gathered around the campfire outside the cabin, swapping ghost stories and laughter. The moon hung low in the sky, its silver light filtering through the trees and casting an ethereal glow. It was during this seemingly tranquil moment that the first strange occurrence took place. A distant, mournful howl that sent shivers down our spines. Brushing it off as a curious forest creature, we continued our night of storytelling. the fire crackling and shadows dancing along the cabin walls. But as the night wore on, the howls grew closer, the sound becoming more desperate, as if the forest itself held its breath in anticipation. Our uneasy laughter faded into nervous glances as the howling surrounded us, echoing from all directions. With a nervous chuckle, Mark, the most fearless among us, suggested exploring the cabin to find the source of the unsettling noise. Curiosity got the better of us, and we agreed, armed with flashlights and trepidation. The cabin's interior was as we'd left it, but now an icy chill permeated the air. The howls seemed to reverberate within the cabin's walls, distorting the very space around us. As we ventured further inside, a sense of unease grew stronger, and the flickering flames of our flashlights cast eerie, elongated shadows on the walls. It was then that we stumbled upon an old journal, its pages yellowed and brittle. The entry spoke of a hermit who had once inhabited the cabin, driven to madness by the haunting howls that plagued his every waking moment. As we read, the cabin seemed to groan in sympathy, its wooden timbers shifting and settling with a life of their own. Outside, the howls reached a crescendo, a symphony of anguish that sent a chill down our spines. We rushed back to the campfire, desperate to escape the oppressive atmosphere inside the cabin. The fire seemed to flicker with an unnatural intensity, casting dancing shadows that took on distorted forms. Then, in a heartbeat, the howls ceased, leaving an eerie silence in their wake. The forest around us grew still, as if holding its breath, and a sense of impending dread hung heavy in the air. Our campfire dimmed, its once vibrant flames reduced to mere embers, and the shadows began to coalesce, forming grotesque shapes that seemed to reach for us. And then, as if emerging from the depths of a nightmare, the hermit appeared before us, an ethereal figure with hollow eyes and a tattered cloak. He raised his arms toward the sky, his voice a haunting melody that blended with the rustling leaves and the sighing wind. The cabin itself seemed to tremble, its timbers groaning under the weight of the ghostly presence. In a state of shock, we watched as the hermit's form wavered and faded, leaving behind an echo of sorrow that lingered in the air. The forest around us began to stir, the trees swaying with an unseen energy, and the shadows retreating into the depths of the woods. As dawn broke, we packed up our campsite and left the cabin behind, haunted by the chilling events of the night. The howls, the shadows, and the ghostly hermit remained etched in our memories, a reminder that some mysteries are better left undisturbed. As we emerged from the woods, the distant echo of the hermit's melody seemed to linger, a haunting refrain that whispered through the trees, a haunting reminder of the horrors we had witnessed in the heart of the wilderness.